I want to talk about me being in Divergent, because I was in Divergent. That movie with Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort and other humans. Because I was an extra in it, and I tweeted that I might do a video on it, and there was interest in that, so here it is. Back in May, I think, I went to an open casting call. My best friend's mother actually contacted me, and she wanted to go to this extras casting and wanted to know if I wanted to go, so we went together. Super long line, curving around, but we got there pretty early, so it wasn't too bad. Waiting outside, actually it was really cold. So I'm gonna scratch it being in May. Maybe it was March and it was just like a pretty cold day. Get to the front, go into this stairwell, get to the front of that, and then we filled out a form, just like our features, I think, and we had to bring a picture. So I had a photo of me for my birthday, and I had long hair. This is a key thing to note. I had curly, brown, long hair about to here. I was wearing like a flowy floral dress because I was intending on going for Amity. Because I read the descriptions of what they were looking for, and I was like, okay, I have like long curly hair and like a flowy hippie vibe going on, kinda. So I'm gonna go for Amity. Me and my friend's mom were separated into lines, and we were looked up and down by this dude who then put us in different lines, and I think we were special. Both me and my friend's mom. He looked us up and down and like put us in a special line, like start our paper or something. I handed my picture and my paper over to a woman, and then she had me walk over to take another photo with some other people. They had me do some faces and some poses or something, and they were like, be like a hippie, and so I was like, probably not that. I don't actually remember what I did, but I think it was just like, I don't know. I definitely put up a peace sign for one of them because that's all I think of when I think of hippie. And then we left. They said they would contact us between 4 to 6 weeks later. 6 weeks later, I decide that they're not gonna contact me because it's been 6 weeks and they didn't contact me. So I'm gonna get a haircut. And that is when I chopped all my hair off. Like 2 or 3 days after I chopped all my hair off, I get an email that I've been cast as an extra in Divergent. So I was given dates and times, and the first date was for a costume fitting. So I went to the costume fitting where I legitimately thought that the first thing they were gonna say to me is that they couldn't use me because I had cut my hair. But that didn't happen. I walked in and the costume dude, who was like French or something, was like, well, you look more like a Dauntless. And then a bunch of other costume people were like, she definitely looks like a Dauntless. Why is she Amity? And I just like was keeping my mouth shut. I was like, I'm not gonna tell them that I used to have long hair and then I cut it, because let's just keep it on the DL. I did the costume fitting. I tried on like probably a lot of costumes, to be honest, because I'm really tall and they were having trouble finding something that was like long enough for me that didn't look awkward. So I had these like overall things. It was kind of like a jumper, but it was like a linen orange jumper. It had like a tie here, and it was like really wrinkly. It was like wrinkly linen, and then it had a tie at my waist, and they were long pants. And then I had a green like crop jacket, and I had some like brown sandal things. And then I left, and then a couple weeks later was the first day of filming. I was set to film for 3 days. So I went to the first day of filming, which started at like 7 a.m. and went until, we went overtime, but I don't remember exactly. I had my hair curly at the time because it was curly naturally back then. Because they wanted Amity to have curly hair / braided hair, whatever. I was the only girl in Amity with short hair. I stuck out like a sore thumb. So I get my costume on. There was eating in between all of this stuff. And then I got my tattoos covered up because we weren't allowed to have tattoos. They put like special stuff, I think it was like that derma stuff. And makeup was fine. Amity was like instructed not to really wear a lot of makeup, like concealer and mascara essentially. So then we walked to set. This was the scene where the factions were lined up to go into the choosing ceremony. The scene in particular, Shailene was there, Ansel was there, and that other dude, I can't remember his name, the jerk in the movie, was there as well. So I saw them like walking around a little bit. I didn't like talk to any of them. There were way too many extras for all of us to like talk to the stars or whatever. But this scene in particular had the Dauntless people jumping off the train and running into line. In actuality, obviously there was no train. They just started from a point and sprinted in. And it was kind of cool to see how that was edited because, you know, there's all of a sudden this train running through the city where there were no train tracks there. And then jump off. And I'm like, that wasn't what was shot, but that's pretty cool looking. You can see me, the camera was like on this side and Amity's line was first. And so you can see me talking to like a group of 3 people. I have bright red, it's not like bright, but it's pretty bright red hair. The only girl with short hair. And I was like talking to my friends in the shot. And then I think there's another shot that's closer up and you can only see like the back of my head, I'm pretty sure. And those shots were like one right after another, didn't last very long. Enough for me to be like, that's me. Oh my gosh, that's me. That's me right there. Okay, the scene's over. Oh, I think that's me. Oh, the scene's over. And that was about it. So that day was actually really, really long. There was just a lot of sitting around. There was food involved and water. It was fine. But the same shot over and over again. So just pantomiming, talking to people, cut. Okay. Pantomiming, talking to people, cut. We didn't have any like specific thing we were supposed to do. Nearing the end of the day, one of the, I gotta say it's like a producer or someone like high up, came up to me and this other kid, Josh, who was like in our like friend group. He had also cut his hair. She told us to find one of the costume directors after the day was over and get fitted for Dauntless. And I was ecstatic. The scenes Dauntless were doing were way cooler than what Amity was doing, and Dauntless was in most of the movie, so I was like, yes! I was like jumping in the air with excitement. So after the day was done, me and this kid Josh, we went to talk to someone in the costume department and we said, so-and-so told us to talk to you about being switched to Dauntless. And she didn't really believe us, I guess, or something, I don't know. But she seemed very like skeptical. So I left after that, and then I sent an email to the person who gave me the costume fitting directions. So I was wondering, when is a good time to come in for another costume fitting for Dauntless? I never got an email back. The next dates for filming weren't for another 3 weeks, so I didn't get an email for that entire 3 weeks back from that person, which I understand, they're probably busy. I didn't know who else to contact. I did contact the agency I was with because I just wasn't sure what was going on. I got an email from my agency a couple days before the next shoot, and it essentially said that they didn't need me anymore. I think they cut a bunch of Amity, and I don't think that anybody knew that I was supposed to be switched to Dauntless, but yeah, essentially I was cut. Bummer. The next days were the choosing ceremony, so I didn't get to be in that scene. Which is kind of a bummer. That ends my experience with Divergent. But I was definitely seen in the movie, so like I'm not really complaining. There wasn't a lot of hot gossip. I just remember seeing Shailene and being like, oh my gosh, that's Shailene. And seeing Ansel and being like, who is that? Because at the time, I don't think he was cast in The Fault in Our Stars yet. So I really had no idea who that was, but I knew that he was like talking in the scene, and so I was like, who are you? So yeah, it was really awesome. I'm lucky that I got to be in it. It was really cool. I saw the movie and I was like freaking out kind of, and then afterwards I was like, dude, I was just in that movie. That was so cool. So if you have any more questions or something that I didn't specify correctly, just ask me in the comments and I'll respond. Okay, I love you guys and I will talk to you later. Bye!